fuck off. 11/20, no, 11/12, or no, it's actually 11/11/2016, but, it's after 12, so, it's saying on the computer that it's 11/12, but it's going to say 11/11/2016. Could use a boost in the volume, I believe, so that's what I want to do, just like that. Actually, there's this thing. Oh, Christ, that is very loud now. Actually, no, it's just controller volume loud. There's this thing that I do when I talk on here. I go, hello. Sometimes when I introduce myself, I can trace the origin of that to this. Hold on. Just 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I can trace the origin of that thing that I do, hello, to this video of this kid who had Pectus Excavatum. Like, this was in the middle of my, actually, just kind of after the freak out about Marfan syndrome. Like, I was going to, like, a bunch of YouTube videos and trying to discern whether or not Pectus Excavatum itself, people, oh my god, in general, people with Pectus Excavatum, I was trying to see if that also, this is a very hard thing to phrase, if people with that Pectus Excavatum, if they also had other Marfanoid traits, which means long limbs, long fingers, scoliosis, and tall. But yeah, the kid was like, every time he, or not every time, but like one of the videos, I think he's like laying in a hospital bed because he had this thing called the Nuss procedure, where it's like to fix Pectus Excavatum. And in the video, he's laying in a hospital bed and he says, hello. And just for whatever reason, the way he said that just really stuck with me. Back on that point about Pectus Excavatum, actually, what I did find was, and this is the reason, one of the reasons why I'm not afraid of Marfan syndrome anymore, is just people with, if you could look up any skeletal feature of Marfan syndrome, whether it be Pectus Excavatum, scoliosis, long limbs, just, even Pectus carinatum, any of those skeletal deformities, if you look up any specific one on YouTube, just, type in Pectus Excavatum, there will be a video of somebody with that. Every single person that has Pectus Excavatum has some other Marfanoid trait. And the thing that's funny about that is that, they always say, like, or the websites that I kept on going to, fucking fear-mongering websites that I went to when I was having that freak out. They were saying, like, if you have 3 or 4 of these things, long limbs, there was like a long list of things that you could possibly have wrong with your skeletal features or whatever. And it's like, if you have 3 or 4 of these things, then, that means you might have it. They don't ever do a good job explaining that you don't fucking have it. They never make it apparent just how rare. Like, you really have to I had to dig so deep to, like, quell my fucking fear about it. And I had to go, like, just vast fucking seas of medical documents and just, finding relevant information, because it's like, it's like they fucking create this gigantic fucking mess and then you have to, like, go around clean. It's like just any official site can say, and these are official fucking sites that say this shit, and they all just make it as dramatic as they possibly can. Like, fucking, half the people who have Marfan syndrome don't know they have it. Dun, dun, boom. They might as well play fucking dramatic music, like, when you go to the website. Just like this boom, boom, boom. I don't know what that was. They might as well just play fucking dramatic music. Because it just feels like fear-mongering so that you'll go to the doctor or whatever. And I mean, the same thing with, like, cancer and stuff. Like, all the cancer statistics and stuff. Like, there's this thing. I was afraid of I was having a mini freak out about oral cancer today. And, like, it's like, I don't have fucking oral cancer, but, I went to this website. There was a couple medical documents saying, there's a rise of people near 30 that are getting oral cancer. And, they don't bother telling you the other side of that, which is fucking how rare it is for somebody under the age of 40 to get oral cancer, under the age of 50 to get oral cancer. There's like 5,000 cases a year of people under 50, and like under 30, you're talking like a couple hundred cases a year. It's just not common. But, you know, the way that they talk, they're like, oh, rising fucking, cancer rates among, you know, it's like such a tiny blip in the radar. And, you know, it all seems designed to scare you. And back on that Marfan thing, I had to look through so many fucking data sets and fucking just, not data sets, but, you know, I had to like, you know, go around YouTube looking at like Pectus Excavatum, people with that, do they have Marfan traits? People with Pectus Excavatum, people with scoliosis, just, you know, those specific things. I was looking, do they have other Marfanoid traits? Because if they did, then it meant that, because I mean, those things are not uncommon at all. Like scoliosis is common. And you know, Pectus Excavatum, those pectus deformities, they're common. So, you know, if people have pectus deformities specifically, but also have other Marfanoid traits, then it means that Marfanoid traits themselves are quite frequent. They're not uncommon. Even paired together are not uncommon, just to have the skeletal manifestations of that. So, you know, it's a fucking nightmare. It was just a fucking nightmare. And I'm like 3 years removed from that, but yeah, it's just, I mean, if you're worried about Marfan syndrome, if you're listening to this, you don't have it. You just, you have to realize how fucking rare this is, especially if you don't have a parent. You're talking about a 1 in 20,000 chance, probably less than that, of a de novo mutation happening. And if you don't have older parents, it's just rare. It's just fucking crazy rare for it to happen, especially if you don't have a parent with one. I mean, there are spontaneous mutations, but they're just 1 in 20,000. Think of that. If you had a 20,000 sided die and you rolled it right now, how confident would you be that it's not going to land on 1 in 20,000? How you would just fucking somebody could have a gun to your head right now and say, roll the dice, and you go, roll the dice, and you could do it pretty confidently that you're not going to land on that specific thing. Speaking of somebody having a gun to your head, I do things like I practice things sometimes. Like I go out and throw the football sometimes, and I imagine like, hold on. Okay, I'm back. Just to clarify, what I was talking about back there, because I was just listening to it. I meant Marfanoid traits without actually having Marfan syndrome, which is defined as having aortic root dilation, and what's ectopia lentis, which is your fucking lens of your eye like falling out of place. Those two combined are the defining features of Marfan syndrome. Not even really the skeletal features. Those are just, you know, it's a clinical diagnosis, which means that, you know, and I only know this because I read so much about it. Which means, you know, it's a constellation of symptoms, and just having the skeletal features doesn't mean that you have it. But I was trying to find out if it was likely, like the likelihood of me having it, if I had the skeletal features of it, but it seems that, and I also get, you know, there's this other thing called mass phenotype, which is, you know, the skeletal features of it, but you don't actually have the aortic thing. So, and you know, you have to just apply logic there. It would make more evolutionary sense for more people, vastly more people. It would make more sense evolutionarily to have just the skeletal features and not the actual fucking aortic root thing, because, you know, they die when they have the aortic root thing and thus cannot fucking reproduce, like the ones that have mass phenotype and don't have the aortic root thing. So, you know, so if you had the skeletal features, that doesn't mean, it means that, you know, you could have it, but it's just a very small chance. because it would make evolutionary sense for you to just have the skeletal features and not the other stuff that comes with it. Okay, 10 minutes, I think. Pretty sure. Yeah, okay, goodbye. Actually, there were a couple more things there that I wanted to clarify that I didn't clarify. There was this one thing I was talking about when I throw the football. Sometimes I imagine, like, somebody having a gun to my head and, like, saying, all right, you gotta make this perfectly. You gotta throw a perfect spiral to that exact point, or I'm gonna shoot you in the head. Like, I do that a lot. Like, you know, I practice these, like skills that don't mean anything, just so, you know, if that ever came up, I would be prepared for it. Like, you know, I can do this now. So, well, it's, I'm remembering that a couple comedians have pointed that out, like that same thought, like, somebody put a gun to your head, like, do it. I don't know. And also, what was the other thing I was going to say? I don't even remember. God, it sucks. All right. Yeah, no, that's it. Goodbye. I just want to clarify that also further. I don't imagine the person having a gun to my head. I imagine if I were ever in that situation, I practice throwing the football so that if I'm ever in that situation, I can do it. All right, so goodbye.